Hey guys, it's Mario here back with another quick video, and this time I'm covering a topic from the area of weight loss and specifically how to stay objective when you're losing body fat, when you're on a diet to those extreme levels of body fat. And this is something I've struggled with a lot, and every single athlete, if you talk to them, and everybody who ever competed in a bodybuilding style of sport, they will definitely tell you it's almost impossible to stay objective because there's so many things working against you as you're approaching those extreme levels of conditioning when you're getting to those low levels of body fat. And we know that there's a lot of adaptations happening. Like you have to eat less, you have more stress because you have to eat less and all these other things, you recover slower, you're more anxious, you're more likely to be pissed off by certain things. And along the way, what another thing that changes is your judgment. So your best judgment is changing. You're no longer objective. And this is a sport where every little thing can play a big difference. Like your food, for example, is your day-to-day thing that plays such a huge difference in this type of sport compared to another sport, which it might not play that much of a difference. And here it's like really you need to be on point if you want to reach those great results. And the analogy I like to use is that we would never let a surgeon operate on a family member. That would be too subjective to do that. We would never let a psychiatrist, treat someone from their own member of their family because they would just simply be too subjective. And with this kind of thing, when we're dieting down, we're the most subjective as to who else than to ourselves, right? So it's really important to be able to put things into perspective. Let's say the weight scale isn't moving, the weight scale is just staying the same, and you don't know what's happening. Maybe one day you wake up heavier, a day after that is, I don't know, for some reason you add even more weight, even though you're in a caloric deficit. Why are these things happening? And first thing it's important to understand is that there's a lot of things happening that are linked to the body weight that are not necessarily tissue change, and specifically your water weight changes. And this is something that I don't think a lot of people pay attention to as much as they should, because your body weight can massively change. And this is a clear example with girls when they're having their periods and things like that. They could wake up 10 pounds heavier overnight for some reason, even though they consume the same amount of calories. It's just crazy. And how do you manage to plow through this and get to your goal and make and keep your judgment and make the right decisions along the way? So the first thing that's very, very important, very underrated, very underused, is taking appropriate progress photos. And I know watching this video, you might be like, well, what is that? Like, why am I not getting some kind of special trick or something, Look, dude, like progress photos is the best fucking thing you can do for your measuring how you're doing on your journey. I will say that every single time I look back, I regret that I didn't take more progress photos. When I look back at all my years of dieting, all my years of general training, like just progressing, I wish I took more photos. That's one of the biggest regrets I have right now, is that I haven't taken enough photos in that early stage when I was making my transformation. I was changing on a month-to-month basis. I was thinking like, well, I'm never gonna be interested in this. Like, who has the time to take off their shirt and take photos? It's so narcissistic. It's so like this and like that. And now I wish I've done it. And 5 years from now, I know I'm gonna regret if I don't do it today. And I see a lot of guys falling into this as well, and they just don't see the value. And the value is so massive. Imagine like 20, 30 years from now, and you get to see like your whole journey, how your body was changing over time. You get every single photo, you see how it's like week to week changes. And I would highly, highly recommend you start doing this much more frequently. I know personally with my clients, if I don't remind them, they will forget it. And it's such a big part of the journey, and also gives you that encouragement to stay on the path because you see that there's results coming. And if there's no results coming, you know that you need to change something. So it's super, super valuable to be objective, is really to have those progress photos. And I would say that, let's say now when I'm dieting, I'm looking at the previous diets when I had these changes happen, and I'm comparing. And that allows me to stay objective because I can see, hey, last time after 16 weeks of dieting, I was in this stage, and this time after 16 weeks of dieting, I look like this. So maybe I could have done something better, or maybe I did something better, so I know, okay, that was the thing that I did better now. And that's why you can stay objective a lot more while you're taking photos, because you have that comparison. You see yourself changing. And next time you're dieting, you're going to be grateful for you to have taken these photos, because you're going to be glad, hey, I finally did it, you know, I overcame my ego. And oftentimes it's really an ego issue, because our ego is like, well, I'm doing everything right, you know, there's no way I could possibly be wrong, and there's no way I'm not objective. And in reality is that you're not objective for sure if you're dieting down. And that's a big self-realization there, is that you will get, your mind will be telling you different things. Like one day you're gonna step on a weight scale and it's gonna stay flat, you know, it's gonna stay the same weight. You're gonna be like, well, maybe I built some muscle, you know. You're gonna give yourself a rationalization, and reality is like, well, you're not getting your results, so you need to change something, right? And people will often like try to self-rationalize their things. They're not gonna be ready to change. So it's really important to have as much data as possible. And that's my second thing here, is how to stay the most objective, is to have as much data as possible. So measure everything, like measure every little single thing that you can measure. Tape measurement, waist measurement, keeping an eye on how your clothes feel, measuring your food, macros, tracking everything. The more things you track, the more objective you are. And I've even seen people, they're interested in losing weight, they're not even tracking their weight. You know, it's crazy, you know, they just think that they're supposed to like magically fall into some weight loss without even measuring it. It's like a blind chicken, you know. It's like trying to find some corn in the field, you know, maybe once in like, I don't know, in a month, but it's not going to happen on a frequent basis, and for you to be able to optimize and improve the process. So measure everything. So step number 2 is really keep an eye on every single thing. The number 3 thing is, it's a really important thing, is that's have friends, have people you trust give you advice on how you're progressing. So have a group of people. In my program, I have a mastermind group, and we all pretty much give our opinions on other people's physiques, because we can see the nuanced points. When you look at yourself, even in pictures, even when you look at yourself in the mirror on a day-to-day basis, it's really hard to stay objective, because you're non-stop looking at yourself. You don't see the small changes happening. You don't see any changes. You don't see the improvements. You don't see anything. But when you have a couple of people you really trust, who can be real with you, 100% real, give you the harsh truth if needed, you say, hey, these are my photos. This is how I look now. Give me the reality. Give me the truth. Am I improving? Am I not improving? And if you have, I mean, I'm sure you have friends who can help you out with this. Trust them. Give them the photos, give them the data, have them analyze a little bit for you, and they will help you out on the journey. And if you don't have any friends to do this, well, you can then seek out a coach, seek out a mastermind group. I mean, one mastermind group that I have, I mean, everybody's doing this. We're all analyzing, we're all sharing our experiences. It works fantastic. And we always see those small nuanced changes that otherwise the person would totally miss out, and they wouldn't celebrate these improvements, and would just make the journey harder. So why not make it easier for yourself? So those would be my 3 things that really help me stay objective. And I kind of just put my photos out there to the public. You know, that's one benefit of having a YouTube channel and social media following, because you can just put your photo out there and people will tell you if you've improved or not. That's one other way. That's the way number 4. So build a big social media following, just send out your photo, and then you're definitely going to be critiqued. There's going to be a lot of haters. There's going to be a lot of people who support you. That's one thing to keep in mind. But I would still say that those first 3 things are super important, especially the fact that number 3, where you have your friends really look over and see how your physique is doing. So I hope you guys enjoyed these tips. I know these are super valuable for all of you guys who are dieting currently. You're going to be able to use this and make better results. So let me know in the comments, find this helpful. And as always, make sure to hit that subscribe button right in the face to support the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.